It was that there's not one switch. There's 100 switches. There's 1,000 switches, and it's all of these little switches, 100%. And bit by bit by bit until it really does, I think, have an exponential impact. And I think you're starting to see that. It's taken a little longer in some cases. But on the other hand, we've made so much progress. And you're seeing more and more of these little switches flip. And it's the reason why I have so much optimism about both 2026 and certainly beyond. And look, part of that truly is you all are one of those flipped switches. Like seeing the passion in Australia, seeing the passion, we're on a kind of world tour right now, and like it's awesome. And each of these individual things and the advocacy and clarifying and debunking the FUD and the misinformation, like it's all part of the number of switches that are being flipped. And I think at some point you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, the switch did get flipped. But it wasn't one. It was the culmination of a decade of those events.
In here 1 year. Think of it, 1 year, a little bit more than 1 year now. Time flies, time flies. Maybe we do one more term. Should we do one more term? Do one more term. Well, we're entitled to it because they cheated like the second one. So we would actually be entitled to it. Now we have a big decision to make. You know that. Not easy. Not easy. We have a very big decision to make. We have a country that's been, for 47 years, blowing people's legs off, arms off, the face. They've been knocking out ships, killing people, lots of people, not only Americans, lots of people. It's been terrible. 32,000 people killed over the last 2-3 months, protesters. 32,000. That's some number of people. 32,000. They want to make a deal, but going to make a deal that's meaningful. I spoke with Ted Cruz, John, all of them. On the way here, I said, well, you got to make a deal that's meaningful. We hit them real hard, as you know, with those beautiful B-2 bombers recently, knocked out their nuclear capability. But I'd rather do it the peaceful way, but they're very difficult people. I want to tell you that. They're very dangerous people, very difficult people.
The looming threat of war with Iran. A second American aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald Ford, moved closer to the Middle East today as the families of U.S. diplomats in the region were given the option to leave.
The U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem urged non-essential staff who wanted to leave Israel to do so immediately. The UK and France advising citizens to avoid travel to Israel, and Italy urging citizens to leave Iran. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is scheduled to arrive here in Israel on Monday. At the same time, U.S.-Iranian talks are expected to take place in Vienna.
I think it is an experiment, and one way to think about Anthropic is that it's a little bit trying to put bumpers or guardrails in that experiment, right?
We do know that this is coming incredibly quickly. And I think the worst version of outcomes would be we knew there was going to be this incredible transformation, and people didn't have enough of an opportunity to adapt.
Directing federal agencies to immediately cease all use of Anthropic's technology, writing, quote, there will be a 6-month phase-out period for agencies like the Department of War who are using Anthropic's products at various levels. Anthropic better get their act together, he writes, and be helpful during this phase-out period, or I will use the full power of the presidency to make them comply, unquote.
Advancement, whether or not the Pentagon can get out of its own way with AI. We should be able, I'm sorry.
What are your thoughts?
I really hope that both the company and the Pentagon can go back to having this conversation in classified settings and in private, and not in front of the whole world. And I also really hope that this is not corporate against corporate playing out in government contracts.
What are you implying?
I'm implying that there's another AI company that may not be so happy with Anthropic getting this kind of advantage.
Do you think that's had some influence to bring us to this moment?
I think 12 months ago I would have said no way. I think that watching the last 12 months where the government decides M&As, decides corporate activity, it's not a big leap. And it's understandable. I also understand why corporations would have this kind of a fight at the Pentagon, because the government is the ultimate arbiter now in major corporate decisions, right? Not on every one, but on major ones. If you're going to buy a news channel or not, it's the White House that decides who gets to own it or not. So it's not that big of a leap to say, if the president and the White House decides who does major M&A, why is it such a big leap to think this is not exactly about Pentagon versus Anthropic? Anthropic and the government seem not to be that far when it comes to what their requirements are. So they should have been able to reach a deal. It's just a weird kind of I don't understand this at all.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Trump says one more term. And like I told you, I feel like he's not even going to finish this term. Because like he stated, if they lose midterms, he's definitely going to get impeached. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. Now, we do have those drums getting louder. And that's the only way he would be able to stay in. And we are definitely living in biblical times. Trump says he has a tough decision to make, but it doesn't look like he's making the decision because we have so much military buildup in the Middle East. It is out of this world. And when you're telling citizens to leave an area, we know what's about to happen. And it may not play out the way we think it's going to play out, but it's definitely about to go down. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, make sure you are getting yourselves prepared. And we see the mainstream media playing the Hegelian dialectic when it comes to Anthropic. We know the power of this technology. And when it comes to the drums are beaten, it is no longer physical. They don't need soldiers anymore because they have drones, robots, and cyber attacks. The game has changed, and you won't be able to tell what's real and not real. We know every drums are beaten was funded by the banks. They funded both sides in order to bring in the industrial revolutions while the sheep were asleep. The sheep have no clue. And that's what's about to happen this time. While the sheep are distracted, they're going to be moving in this fourth industrial revolution. And don't forget, the emerging markets is where it happens first. But this is a global agenda where the robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And we have stocks letting some of that air out the bubble. And remember, this year we're going to have event after event. And we have corporations on the stock market with $4, $3, $2, $1 trillion market caps, which make no sense whatsoever. Going over 40 times earnings. And we have Warren Buffett's Berkshire has over $328 billion sitting on the sideline just for this time. Because they're going to be buying up everything pennies on the dollar with the direction from the central banks. And remember, the Crypto Teacher tells you. Because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
To loosen military safeguards around its AI models or face the cancellation of government contracts. The clash is putting the AI safety debate directly in the spotlight. And over in China, that tech is already being used by the military. Deirdre Bosa has more in today's Tech Check. Deirdre?
Hey, Kelly. So this is the part of the story that may not be getting enough attention. This isn't just a contract dispute. It's exposing a real structural gap between the U.S. and China on military AI. So there is no Chinese CEO telling the People's Liberation Army what it can and can't do with its models. DeepSeek is already reportedly powering autonomous combat vehicles and coordinating drone swarms. The Pentagon itself has concluded that Alibaba and Baidu aid the Chinese military. So the same safety principles that make American AI trustworthy for consumers, why Fortune 500 companies trust them with their data, it's the same one slowing it down for national security. In China, meanwhile, AI military integration, it is a feature. Here in the US, that fight, it plays out publicly. Now, of course, Kelly, the fact that an American CEO can say no to the Pentagon, that is what separates us from China. That is a good thing. Debate is healthy, but the fallout for investors, it could be expensive, and for national security, potentially dangerous, which is, of course, the government's argument, and you make them hear that. But while we're arguing about guardrails, China is deploying every day, and every day that the gap widens, it could be harder to close, Kelly.
Yeah, and I think that, we must be learning something about how fractious this is when we have this name calling by the Pentagon about Anthropic, and I don't know if they're ultimately going to come to the table and say, that the national security need is more urgent, but the bad blood is pretty striking.
Yeah, and it's so public, right? We talked about this a few days ago as well. I mean, Anthropic has made sort of its whole founding principle safety, and this is really an important thing for it to stand up to also. Think about it. It works for its enterprise customers. It's saying essentially that it would be walking away from a $200 million contract if that compromises its values. And the argument that the government is making is saying we're not going to be doing anything illegally, but we need to be able to access and do what we need to do because there's another country, China, that is moving forward. And it's interesting because AI changes this, right? We have the frontier models, but China, we always talk about this, Kelly, is catching up very, very quickly. So it's not like we have all of this proprietary stuff. We do, but that lead is shrinking. And China's military is going to be able to access, if not the best, very close to the best model.
The shifting jobs picture is just one of the changes in the markets that has led our next guest to downgrade his view on equities. Joining us now is Warren Pies from 314 Research. So, Warren, it's great to have you. I know you've been kind of on this idea that AI-exposed jobs have performed worse than other types of jobs. So do you think that's kind of filtering into the way the market's assessing the macro outlook?
Oh, most definitely. I think we're at a turning point right now, and it's always difficult at turning points, and there's always a disparity of opinions in how you interpret the data, and you almost by definition have to be a little bit creative with how you do your work. So what we did is we split out the BLS data, and we categorized the 30 most, in our view, AI-exposed industries, and we compared them to the 30 most AI-resistant industries, and then we looked at the trends within those, the job creation within those industries, and then compared it to their pre-COVID trend line. We stripped out 2020 and 2021 because there was a lot of overhiring in these tech-exposed places, industries back then. And I think the message is nascent, but clear that AI is starting to have an impact. I think the first phase of this was a lowering of hiring rates. In the second phase, and we're seeing that in some of these anecdotes, and I wouldn't ignore anecdotes entirely. You want to have data to back it up. But the anecdotes are pointing towards the next phase, which is going to be some sporadic layoffs. And so, yes, I think it's absolutely a big deal. I think it's showing up obviously, in the equity prices in the software industry. We're seeing that. Malcolm talked about that. But we're seeing it now in the rates market. So if you're really pushing against this and saying this is all AI psychosis, you should be arguing with the SOFR market. So overnight rates market is slowly pushing more cuts into this cycle and expanding them out into 2027. And that ultimately drags the 10-year down like we're seeing. So when we downgraded stocks a few weeks ago, we upgraded bonds, and this was really the big reason.
We're going to have tremendous workforce availability. We're also going to have robots helping us. We're going to have a lot of robots helping us because we need it. And because we're going to town, we're building a lot between the AI and the auto plants. So we're going to need robots. We're going to have robots, but that's going to help us.
Robots hold steady hands in the operating room, and drones are redefining the future of war. Innovations of first-generation humanoids, factory automation, and autonomous vehicles have surged from private sector investment. Every one of these advancements is powered by AI. The robots are here. Our future is no longer science fiction.
Maybe crypto is actually built for the machines, and we didn't even know it. And AI can easily handle private keys and easily understands transaction hashes and like how all this stuff works. It is money that is built for computers, even before the computers to intelligently handle it were built. So I find that interesting, and perhaps those of us who were involved in crypto pre-AI were kind of just like getting the ground ready for the AI systems to have a fully developed financial system handed to them, for better or worse.
This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology.
And as President Trump has directed, we are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stable coins to do that.
I think stable coins could reinforce dollar supremacy, because with stable coins could end up being one of the largest buyers of U.S. treasuries or T-bills. So all of a sudden, if you are using a stable coin in Nigeria that's backed by the U.S. dollar, you don't actually have to have dollars. It's on your phone. You can transact.
We are going big on digital assets. So Trump administration has made digital assets a priority. I've seen estimates that just over the short term, stable coins could create $2 trillion of demand for U.S. treasuries and treasury bills. To put that in context, the number is probably about $300 billion right now. We will take a close look at regulatory impediments to blockchain, stable coins, and new payment systems.
The Department of Commerce is going to start issuing its statistics on the blockchain, because you are the crypto president, and we are going to put out GDP on the blockchain so people can use the blockchain for data distribution, and then we're going to make that available to the entire government so all of you can do it. We're just ironing out all the details so we can do it.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you can reduce the cost of virtually all goods and services. It'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto. But with today's announcement, we take a major step to bring healthcare into the digital age. Instead of filling out the same tedious paperwork at every medical appointment, patients will simply be able to grant their doctors access to their records at the push of a button. Just a button and you're all set, and all the information the doctor needs will be immediately transmitted.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it will be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity, and if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. As an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
If we could tokenize all our ETFs, all $5.3 trillion of our ETFs, and provide that in a digital wallet, you could seamlessly, without fees, going from a digital currency or a stable coin or whatever that may be in your digital wallet and buy bond or stocks. And I believe that is going to be the future.
I believe we're going to be in the cutting edge of tokenizing bonds and stocks.
It's coming.
And we have the technology now. The fact that we are now moving forward in tokenization, every bond and stock, is crazy. Yeah. We should be moving towards that frontier. Obviously, there's winners and losers and all that, but we need to be prepared for the tokenization. And it would democratize more finance if we tokenized bonds and stocks.
Crypto Teacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team Save the Village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Team Save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Team goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.